Okay, so continuing on to have the opportunity to show another cranial approach. So Julia had shown us CV4. CV4, at least in the case of the demonstration, didn't do anything to the neck mechanically, and that's really all we checked. But at least in her thesis and her data, we saw some changes to heart rate and blood pressure, which were relatively reliable. So that's of interest. Another thing that will be talked about with respect to cranial approaches is utilizing the mastoids to move the temporal bones, right? So the good old Sutherland gills of a fish. What you're going to do is more or less come into that vault hold, that general cranial listening hold, and then with the finger, usually the ring finger will be around the mastoid of most people. And then what you do is, I think they call it a temporal sway, is what they call it. You just kind of move in at the same time with both of them, and then one of them should move a little bit more than the other. The challenge becomes differentiating how your fingers move, the normal bony difference side to side in a person, and then the actual movement of those bones. Those bones should not move much, especially in an adult. But basically, if I were to ask, so if I push in here versus push in here, does it feel like there's more resistance on this side to you? Mm-hmm. Right? Now, I don't know if that's my finger. I don't know if that's the shape of her mastoid. But either way, what I would aim to do in the classic cranial model is hold on to the right side. I'd put some overpressure on it with my finger, which is really hard to see. Some cranial approaches will talk about very, very light pressure. Others will talk about heavy pressure. The problem for me as a practitioner becomes, because I have to put that pressure in, that it's really easy for my finger and the ability to sense fine things as far as frequencies of pressure is concerned gets overwhelmed. So I can feel lots of things, but I'm definitely going to feel my tendons. I'm definitely going to feel my forearm musculature. I'm definitely going to feel my finger. And then that finer sense is tougher because I have to put some pressure on. If you put absolutely no pressure on, it's unlikely that anything is going to happen. All right, and we just kind of come out of there, push into the left, push into the right. Now, to me, it feels like something happened to me. Does it feel like something happened to you?
Mm-hmm. Now it almost feels more restricted on this side.
Yeah, so we'll get variation in that. Now, I didn't check your neck before. I didn't check, so it's not fair, but that's the general approach. If you wanted to figure out if it would have an impact on the neck or any other area in the body, you can run a simple experiment. You do a full assessment, you record which side is restricted wherever in the body. Say you do ankle, knee, hip, vertebral column, shoulder girdle, neck, and then you apply something like the temporal sway, which is, again, just that vault hold. So basically, live long and prosper so that you don't poke them in the ears. And then the ring finger is likely to be right on the mastoid. You push one side, you push the other side, the restricted side, you hold on to for a while. And there may be some change there. There may not be. It may be the experience of change for myself and the patient because of the sensation applied. But we can figure out if it has diffuse mechanical effects by checking everything and then reassessing it after. So we agree that something happened there, but we might both be wrong, right? So the sensation that she feels, the sensation that I feel, I definitely have a lot of sensation on this finger and then into the tendons that are going to control the flexion of the finger, right? So who knows if it did what we wanted it to do. We didn't do an assessment, so can't figure that out. But that is a classic cranial approach.